Hello guys, in this video I want to talk a little bit about the scales that I use on my solos, because I got a lot of comments and received a lot of comments and also emails asking me about certain videos on YouTube that I've made playing over backing tracks, either backing tracks I did or backing tracks free over the internet. And some people ask me what scales that I'm using. So just right off the bat, usually I use a combination of the pentatonic scale, being it major or minor, and the minor scale or major scale, and that's pretty much it. Then you have the modes and all the licks, but I'm not gonna talk or show any specific lick here, just the scales that I do. Okay, so in order to make a solo on a song, you usually have like a root note or a root chord, you can call it that, where you have to, where your solo is on top of. So imagine, for example, that our root note here on a chord progression would be an A minor. Okay, got a bit fair amount of distortion here, so let me roll down the volume. Okay, so this would be the chord, an A minor. Okay, so first and foremost, the most important thing you have to do is memorize all the shapes on the pentatonic scale. I'm gonna tab all of this for you guys to download for free, and then there's many ways you can look at this. I'll show you in a second. So the basic pentatonic scale, minor pentatonic scale, everybody knows it by now, right? But I'm gonna play it anyway. Okay, in A. Now, what I'm going to do here on this particular scale and shape, this is the first shape of the pentatonic, is to add some notes. So I'm going to play the minor scale in A. Basically, you're adding notes to already pentatonic shape that exists over there. So I'm going to play the scale first, and then I'm going to show you what notes I added. So here on the top 6th string, you can see that I've added this note. Then on the 5th string, I added this one. Nothing here on the D string, stays the same. Then on the G string, I added this note that goes a little bit out of the box, right? Then on the B string, this one is added. I string, this one is added. Okay? Now imagine, for example, that you have your pentatonic box and you know that you have your octave over here. First, you need to memorize all the shapes or boxes there are between all these scales, like the first shape, second one, third one, fourth, fifth, and finally the octave. And then this will repeat for there and also back there. Okay, now we are dealing with 2 notes per string, which makes it easy for us to decide where the next scale will start. Well, you only have one choice, being that this is the first shape, so this is telling you that the second shape will start here. Now, if you have 3 notes per string, like on the minor scale, it's up to you to decide if you want to run the second shape of the minor scale here or there. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing, because it gives you the ability to make different patterns and different boxes, and I think there's no overall among all guitar players, no consensus about what really should be done. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do it. I prefer to use the note where the pentatonic ends, or even the 3 note per string scale, A minor scale. Okay, we are in A, so I'm going to use this shape. So the first shape, as I already played, I'm going to play it again. It's this one. don't forget to have your thumb here where I have, okay? Because if you're an advanced player and you have big fingers, you know, your finger eventually will move over here like this. But if you're just starting out and want to make sure every note is played correctly, put your finger in the middle of the neck, back of the neck. Then, second shape will start here as a pentatonic, right? So I'll play it like this. And one thing that is very common is to try to end where you started. If you start here, you should end up here, like this, just on the pentatonic. Okay? And now on the 3 notes per string, it's kind of the same thing. You start here, you should end up here. But I usually go a little bit further and end up a little bit up. Like on this example, the second scale. I should end up there, so, but I usually throw that note there, okay? So once again, second shape. Now that we have this one that ended up here on the 6th string, I'm gonna start my next scale exactly here, and it'll be like this. My next shape will be the 3rd shape. When I had this one, you can do it the way you want, okay? And there are several ways to play this, okay? Probably this is not the easiest one because you have a little bit of a jump from the 12th fret over there, okay? So you could put it like this to make it easier, okay? So this is one of the reasons why I told you that after you know all these positions and shapes, it's up to you to build up the way you want, because eventually you're playing the same thing. Instead of doing like this shape, I can go, which is basically the same thing, okay? And this is what gets confused on all guitar lessons and players, because everybody does it in a different way. And in my honest opinion, there's no right way to do this, okay? So let's try to make it a little easier and start our shape. Instead of going backwards like this, we're going up like this. So by doing this, we define our next scale starting here, okay? On the 11th, on the 13th fret. So once again, the 3rd shape. Should stop here, but I will continue up there. It's your call, okay? Now, we have the 4th scale, or the 4th shape. I also ending up a little bit on the higher string here, instead of finishing where I started, okay? I could finish it here, okay, where I start the scale, but usually I go up a little bit. Okay, let's go for the 5th shape. We'll start from there, where the last scale ended. So it's the 1st note. Okay, once again. You can end up here or there. Okay, and finally we have our octave. On this kind of guitar, it's a little bit difficult to play with your pinky, so you can use the other fingers that you have. So this kind of structure on my solos, on my playing, this is not meant to be the right way to do it. It's just an answer to all the emails and comments that I've been receiving is what allows me to make some of those more melodic solos, okay? And since we're talking about solos, if it's a blues genre style, like something like okay, I'm not going to use minor or major scales. I'm just going to use the pentatonic because it will sound bad. Now, if it's something like a ballad, like sort of Gary Moore chords, you know, this kind of stuff, this will sound beautiful. So a line, for example, a phrase, whatever you want to call it. So you can do these kind of phrases. Now the phrases are up to you. I can come up with some licks for another video or something like that if you want to experiment with certain phrases. But it's really up to you, you know, digging up the notes and playing the notes, whatever order you want. There's no starting point, you know, you might as well start where you feel comfortable and then just play randomly, you know. Now I'm using certain techniques here, like this one, ember on, pull off, and stuff like that. Vibrato, bending the notes. One exercise that I used to do a lot would be to kind of try to play the chords and a phrase from a melody, like just the one I've shown you, like having an A minor chord, a D7 chord minor, also, and then a major 7 and a C major 7 chord. Okay, something like that. So I'll do the chord. Always kind of finishing on the root note of each chord, which is not necessarily, you don't have to do that, but it kind of feels better. Okay, so I hope you find this useful. I'm gonna put everything in a PDF with the shapes that I use. Once again, I must stress out that I'm not insinuating by any means that this is the way you should do it. There are probably better teachers out there that will tell you exactly. Although I think there's no wrong or right way to do it, because when you have the pentatonic scale, which is basically just 2 notes per string, you know where to start, you know where to finish. You just can add that blues note, I mean. But when you have 3 notes per string, everything changes, because you can start the second shape instead of, like I said in the beginning, this is the first 3 notes of the first scale, the minor scale in A. So the first shape, you can start it there, or you can start it there. I prefer to use this one because it's kind of the pentatonic, where you would start the next pentatonic. So for me, it makes a little bit more sense, and it's easier to visualize, okay? But then, as you memorize all these shapes, as you would do for the pentatonic, but now with 3 notes per string, you start to realize that there are many ways you can do the same thing. So it's up to you if it's comfortable or not. If it's hurting your hand, just stop. And for this kind of exercise, I wouldn't necessarily advise to play with a metronome. You don't need to build up speed or something, just to know your fretboard. And then after that, you can come up with your own licks and your own phrases, and then use a metronome so you can know where everything is, just for practice. Don't forget that this applies to any note on the fretboard. If I started here in A sharp would be the same thing, okay, all over again. So if you guys want me to make more videos on this kind of subject topics and licks and stuff like that that I use on my solos, just leave me a comment below and I will do that. But for now, just download the tabs below the video and check out the way I do it. Thanks for watching once again. Stay safe and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.